His new wife made a shocking request: help her sister gain experience with males. Julian Vance stared out at the distant planet, its emerald forests twisting like veins across the surface. The mission log said Terra Nova was uninhabited. That didn't stop his new wife, Leora, from making a request that would change his life. "Julian," she said, her voice calm but urgent, "I need you to help my sister, Saren." Julian turned from the viewport. He had only been married to Leora for 3 weeks, and already she was asking impossible things. Saren. He had met her once briefly, and she seemed fragile, unsure of herself. But Leora's expression left no room for refusal. "She wants to join the Galactic Exploration Corps," Leora continued, her eyes glinting with determination. "But she doesn't have the training." "I need you to prepare her," Julian blinked. "You want me to train her on the Aegis? That's insane. The Corps doesn't accept civilians without years of preparation." "I know," Leora said softly, resting a hand on his arm. "That's why I need you. You're the best pilot, the best strategist we have. She needs guidance from someone who has been there." Julian leaned against the railing, weighing his options. He had always believed in humanity's potential. Humans were explorers, fighters, inventors, and dreamers. But could he teach someone so inexperienced to survive in the harsh, uncharted parts of space? "You realize this could be dangerous?" he asked. "She could get hurt, or worse." Leora nodded. "I trust you more than anyone." Her faith stirred something in Julian. Against his better judgment, he agreed. "Fine, bring her aboard tomorrow." The next day, Saren arrived. She was shorter than Julian expected, with large, curious eyes and hair the color of autumn leaves. She carried a small backpack and an air of nervous excitement. "Hello," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Julian offered a smile. "Welcome to the Aegis. I'm Julian, you must be Saren," she nodded. "Yes, my sister says you'll help me survive." Julian laughed softly. "Survival isn't just about avoiding danger. It's about knowing yourself, making decisions, and trusting your instincts. That's what I'll teach you." The first lessons were simple. Julian showed Saren the star maps, explained how to navigate using the constellations, and walked her through the ship's controls. At first she was clumsy, mixing up coordinates, pressing the wrong buttons, hesitating at every command. But she listened, and she learned quickly. By the third day, Julian noticed something remarkable. Saren's eyes sparkled whenever she mastered a new skill. Her fear was giving way to determination. "You're a natural," Julian said. "Most people take months to get this far." She smiled faintly. "I want to make my sister proud. She believes in me. I don't want to fail." Weeks passed and the training grew more intense. Julian taught Saren zero-gravity maneuvering, combat simulations, and emergency protocols for hostile environments. At first, she struggled with the physical aspects, the way her body reacted in low gravity, the speed at which decisions had to be made, but she compensated with intelligence and intuition. "You're overthinking it," Julian told her one day as they practiced in the ship's simulator. "Trust your instincts. Humans have survived because we adapt faster than any alien species." Saren nodded, closing her eyes for a moment. Then, with a deep breath, she executed the maneuver perfectly. Julian grinned. "See, that's instinct." Her confidence grew, but so did the danger. One evening, a warning siren echoed through the ship. Julian rushed to the bridge. The sensors had detected a rogue asteroid field on their route. "Saren," Julian said, "time to put your training to the test." Her face turned pale. "Me. But I'm not ready." "You'll never be ready until you try," Julian replied. "I'll guide you. Remember what I taught you. Trust yourself." Together, they navigated the ship into the asteroid field. Julian gave instructions, but Saren had to act quickly, making split-second decisions. One asteroid came too close. Saren's hands moved on the controls almost automatically, dodging it by mere centimeters. The ship shuddered, but they emerged intact. Julian looked at her in awe. "You did it. You didn't panic. You adapted." Saren's eyes filled with tears. I did it, I really did it. Leora arrived at the bridge, her expression a mixture of pride and relief. I knew she could do it. And you've given her more than just skills, Julian. You've given her belief in herself. Julian felt a quiet satisfaction. This was what humanity did best. We faced challenges, we learned, and we grew stronger. And now, one more human, Saren, was ready to take her first steps into the galaxy. That night, as the twin suns set behind Terra Nova, Julian walked on the observation deck alone. The stars stretched endlessly above him, and he thought of the countless explorers who had come before, humans who had dared to push boundaries. He smiled to himself. Teaching Saren was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast and there were dangers lurking in every corner. But humans were unstoppable. And now, he had another human to help carry that legacy forward. He glanced at the small communicator on his wrist. Tomorrow, Saren would begin advanced simulations, real tests against unpredictable scenarios. And he knew this was only the start of something far bigger than either of them could imagine. The Aegis glided silently through space, its hull gleaming under the distant stars. Julian stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back, eyes scanning the holographic displays. Saren was at the navigation console, her fingers dancing over the controls with newfound confidence. She had mastered the basics, but the galaxy held dangers far beyond anything the simulator could teach. Coordinates set for the Draxon sector, Julian said. This is where things get interesting. Saren frowned. Interesting? How dangerous is it? Julian let out a small laugh. Dangerous enough to make you sweat, but not so much that you'll fail. The key is adaptation. Remember what I taught you? She nodded, gripping the edge of the console. She could feel her heart racing, but a strange thrill ran through her. She was ready, or as ready as she could be. The Draxon sector was infamous. Rogue asteroids, uncharted gas clouds, and strange electromagnetic anomalies made navigation treacherous. But human explorers had always pushed forward, and now Saren would follow in their footsteps. Look at this, Julian said, pointing to the holographic map. The sensors are picking up something unusual. Saren leaned closer. What is it? Julian frowned. Not sure. It doesn't match any known readings. It could be a natural phenomenon, or it could be something alive. The ship's alarms suddenly blared. A series of bright energy pulses struck the shields, rocking the Aegis violently. Alien drones, Julian shouted, moving to take control. They're scanning us or attacking. Saren's pulse quickened. This was her first real encounter with danger beyond simulations. Julian gave her a quick nod. Take the helm, trust your instincts. She swallowed and grasped the controls. Her mind raced, recalling every lesson Julian had drilled into her. The drones were fast, unpredictable, and adaptive. One wrong move could mean disaster. Julian guided her voice through the comm system. Focus on patterns, not panic. Humans are good at recognizing patterns. Use that. Saren squinted at the approaching drones. Then, almost automatically, she began to weave the Aegis through them, dodging pulse beams and responding to sudden changes in trajectory. Her fingers flew over the console, adjusting shields and thrusters in perfect harmony. Julian watched, impressed. You're thinking like a human explorer, not just a pilot. That's what counts. After tense minutes, the drones suddenly withdrew, vanishing into the Draxon mists. The Aegis rocked gently as its systems recovered. Saren exhaled, her body trembling. We survived. Julian patted her shoulder. More than survived. You adapted. That's humanity's greatest strength. The next day, Leora joined them on the bridge. She had been monitoring the communications networks and scanning for nearby colonies. Julian, Saren, she said, her voice serious, there's more. The drones weren't random. They're guarding something important. What do you mean? Julian asked. Leora pointed to a section of the holographic map. There's a planet ahead cloaked by energy fields. The readings suggest advanced technology, alien tech. Humans have never explored this system, The drones are protecting it. Saren's eyes widened. So we go there, Julian hesitated. It's dangerous, but if we don't, no one else will. Humanity can't stop exploring because of fear, she nodded. Then we go. The journey to the cloaked planet was tense. Saren had to apply everything she had learned, navigation, shields, and emergency maneuvers, as they passed through shifting gravitational fields and magnetic storms. Each obstacle tested her instincts, and each success built her confidence. When they finally emerged from the turbulence, the planet lay before them. Its surface glowed with an eerie blue light, and massive structures protruded from the ground like spires of crystal. Julian frowned. This isn't natural. The readings show energy signatures consistent with a lost alien civilization. The drones were right. This place is significant. Saren stared in awe. It's beautiful and terrifying. Julian smiled faintly. Welcome to the edge of human exploration. The first landing attempt was complicated. The planet's energy fields disrupted the Aegis's stabilizers. Julian took manual control, guiding the ship through violent gusts of electromagnetic storms. Saren assisted, recalibrating the shields to counter unexpected surges. Together, they managed a rough but safe landing. Stepping out onto the alien soil, Saren felt a strange mixture of fear and exhilaration. The air was breathable, but faint energy pulses tingled her skin. Julian motioned for caution. This place isn't abandoned. Stay alert. They explored the crystalline structures carefully, taking notes and scanning for life forms. That's when they saw them, tall, metallic beings moving with precision yet eerily silent. The drones hadn't been random, they were guardians. Julian, Saren whispered. They're watching us, Julian nodded, and we need to prove we belong here. Humans survive by understanding, not by fighting blindly. Saren stepped forward, recalling a lesson Julian had repeated endlessly. Humans adapt, learn, and communicate. She activated the ship's translator, sending a series of simple signals. The metallic beings paused, analyzing. Slowly, they responded with gestures and pulses of light. Julian's eyes widened. They're intelligent, they're testing us. Saren took a deep breath. We have to show them we're explorers, not invaders. Over the next several hours, Saren led the interaction. She studied the patterns of the energy pulses, mimicked their gestures, and gradually gained the Guardian's trust. Julian observed in quiet amazement. The skills she had learned, instincts, problem-solving, courage, were all coming together. By nightfall, the metallic beings retreated to a central structure. A soft hum filled the air as the energy fields around the planet dimmed. Julian and Saren exchanged a glance. They had passed the first test, but what awaited inside the structure was still unknown. Leora appeared behind them, her expression unreadable. They've accepted you for now, but I have a feeling the planet itself will challenge you in ways even we can't predict. Saren looked at Julian. I think I'm ready. Julian nodded, pride swelling in his chest. You've come a long way, but the galaxy isn't done testing you yet. As they prepared to enter the alien structure, the sky shimmered with strange, shifting lights. The hum of energy pulsed stronger, almost like a heartbeat. Saren felt her own pulse quicken. She had survived simulations, drones, and storms, but this was the unknown. Julian placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Whatever happens inside, remember one thing: humans adapt, we survive, and so will you. Saren swallowed hard, then stepped forward, leading the way. The crystalline doors parted silently, revealing a vast chamber bathed in radiant blue light. Strange symbols danced along the walls and the air vibrated with energy. Suddenly, a voice echoed in their minds, not words but a feeling of comprehension. It was alien, ancient, and powerful. The message was clear: prove your worth, survive the trial. Only then may you claim the knowledge we guard. Saren's eyes widened. This was the ultimate test, a challenge no human had faced before. She glanced at Julian. We can do this, right? Julian smiled, though his heart raced. We'll face it together. That's what humans do. The chamber's floor shifted, revealing moving platforms suspended over a glowing chasm. Complex puzzles of light and energy awaited. Saren took a deep breath and stepped forward. This was no simulation. No training could fully prepare her. But she had learned to trust herself, to adapt, and to survive. The trial had begun. The chamber's floor shimmered beneath Saren's boots, glowing faintly as the alien platforms shifted. Julian and Saren stood together at the edge of a glowing chasm, watching intricate patterns of light pulse across the walls. The air thrummed with energy, and the voice, or rather, the feeling of the ancient guardians resonated in their minds. Prove your worth. Survive the trial, Saren swallowed. Her heart pounded, but she remembered every lesson Julian had taught her. Trust instincts, think clearly, act decisively. Humans survived because they adapted, and this was a test of adaptation at its finest. Julian stepped beside her. Remember, Saren, observe first, then act. Every challenge has a pattern. Humans find patterns faster than anything else. She nodded, eyes fixed on the first set of moving platforms. They weren't just moving randomly, they formed sequences. Timing would be everything. The first challenge was a simple trial of agility. Platforms rose and fell in sequence, some spinning, some tilting. Saren studied them, noting the rhythm. Then, with careful steps, she leapt across, adjusting balance midair, her body moving almost instinctively. Julian followed, guiding her when a misstep nearly caused a fall. At the far side, Saren breathed heavily, but a small smile tugged at her lips. "We're doing it," Julian grinned. "Good, one down, many to go." The next trial tested their reasoning and teamwork. A wall of shifting holographic symbols appeared, each pulsing in energy. The Guardian's message was clear. They had to solve a puzzle to proceed. Saren studied the symbols. At first they seemed chaotic, but she noticed a subtle repetition, patterns forming sequences in color and shape. Her mind raced, recalling human logic puzzles and pattern recognition exercises Julian had given her. "Julian, look," she said, pointing. "The blue symbols always appear after the green ones. It's a sequence." Julian nodded, smiling. "Exactly. Use that. Apply the sequence and we'll unlock the next door." Working together, they touched the symbols in order. Energy flowed through the wall, rearranging the symbols until the door opened with a soft hum. Saren's confidence grew with every success. She was no longer the timid girl who had arrived weeks ago. She was a problem solver, a thinker, a human ready to face the galaxy. The third trial was the most dangerous yet. The floor shifted beneath them into a narrow bridge suspended over a glowing pit. Energy beams shot across at irregular intervals, and timing was critical. Julian moved first, demonstrating the safe path, then gestured for Saren. "Wait for the pulse, then dash. Trust yourself." Her heart pounded as she stepped forward. The beams fired and she sprinted across, adjusting her trajectory mid-step. Halfway across, a beam grazed her shoulder. Pain shot through her, but she forced herself to focus, landing safely on the other side. Julian rushed to her side. "Are you okay?" Saren nodded, wincing. I'm fine. That was incredible." "You did well," Julian said. "Humans survive because we don't give up. Pain is temporary. Progress is permanent." The final trial awaited in a massive chamber filled with floating platforms, suspended over a swirling pool of energy. The Guardians' challenge was now clear. They had to navigate the platforms while solving a complex logic puzzle projected in midair. Failure meant falling into the energy below. Saren felt her knees tremble. Julian placed a hand on her shoulder. "Stay calm. Break the puzzle into steps. Humans excel when we stay composed under pressure." She took a deep breath, studying the puzzle. It was intricate, with rotating energy patterns and shifting numbers. She visualized each step, recalling the problem-solving drills Julian had taught her. Slowly, she began moving the platforms, carefully timing each jump while solving the puzzle step by step. Julian followed closely, offering advice and encouragement. Good. You're thinking ahead, that's the key. Don't react, predict. As they progressed, the platforms became smaller, the energy below more intense. Saren's muscles burned, her mind raced, but she refused to panic. She adapted, combining agility, logic, and courage. At last, they reached the final platform. The holographic puzzle dissolved, replaced by a warm, pulsing light. The Guardian's presence enveloped them, no longer testing but acknowledging. A voice, or rather a feeling, resonated in their minds. You have proven yourselves. Humans are worthy. The knowledge is yours. The chamber transformed. Crystalline panels rose, revealing a cache of alien technology, maps of unexplored sectors, devices capable of extraordinary energy manipulation, and archives of lost civilizations. Leora, who had accompanied them silently, gasped in awe. Saren stared, her hands trembling. We did it. We really did it. Julian smiled proudly. Not just you, all of us. Humans survive and thrive together. That's what makes us remarkable. The trio explored the alien archives carefully. Saren studied navigation protocols, energy manipulation tools, and strategies used by civilizations long gone. Julian watched her, a mixture of pride and amazement in his eyes. She had grown from a timid, inexperienced girl into a capable explorer, ready to face the galaxy. As they prepared to leave the planet, a final test appeared, this time not from the Guardians, but from the environment itself. The energy fields that had cloaked the planet began fluctuating violently, threatening to trap the Aegis. Julian, the ship, Saren shouted. He rushed to the controls, but the energy pulses were unpredictable. Then Saren remembered a strategy the Guardians had subtly hinted at during the trials, timing the natural pulses to create safe paths. Julian, follow my lead, she commanded. Her voice was steady, confident. Use the energy fluctuations, don't fight them. Julian hesitated but then nodded. Trusting her instincts, he maneuvered the Aegis as Saren directed. They rode the pulses, weaving through dangerous fields until the ship broke free of the planet's grasp. Julian exhaled. That was brilliant, Saren. You saved us all. She smiled, a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. We did it together. Humanity survives because we think, adapt, and trust one another. Back aboard the Aegis, as they left the Draxan sector behind, Julian reflected on the journey. Humans were explorers, builders, survivors. They faced impossible odds, adapted to unimaginable dangers, and came out stronger. And Saren, once unsure, timid, and inexperienced, was living proof of human potential. Leora placed a hand on Julian's shoulder. You did more than teach her skills. You gave her confidence. You reminded her and all of us what it means to be human. Julian smiled quietly. Humans aren't perfect, but we are relentless, inventive, and brave. That's why we survive. That's why we thrive. Saren joined them, her eyes reflecting the distant stars. I understand now. Humans can face anything. The galaxy doesn't scare us. We grow stronger because we try, because we adapt, because we believe in ourselves. Julian placed a hand on her shoulder. And this is only the beginning. There are more stars, more dangers, more mysteries. But humanity will rise to every challenge. You'll see that soon enough. As the Aegis jumped into faster-than-light travel, leaving the glowing Draxan world behind, Saren felt a deep sense of pride. She had faced fear, uncertainty, and the unknown, and emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to explore the galaxy. Humanity had survived again, through ingenuity, courage, and determination. And as the stars stretched into brilliant streaks of light around them, Saren knew one thing. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and wonders, but humans could overcome anything.